Hey, welcome to hell, motherfuckers. And, I got some good stuff for you sickos today. I'm excited about this one. The wide, wonderful world of bootleg live tapes from back in the day. So we're going to go over a bunch. I was at some of these shows, some of them I was not, but I'll discuss that. And some of these are just legendary, incredible, monumental shows that took place, and definitely had to talk about it because once I started going through the collection, started realizing, holy shit, I got a lot of fucking cool live tapes. So this was actually something that I thought about doing with Uncle Ken, Mr. Ken Escobedo, on the Death Metal Crypt. And I had missed the memo that he was retiring, so I had no idea. I sent him a text, was like, hey, man, I got this concept I wanted to run by you, and maybe we can do the show. At that time, I didn't even have my own channel. I was thinking maybe I can just come on the crypt and, talk about some live tapes. I noticed that I don't remember if he's ever done that. He might have, and I know he's got tons of them because he's got 100 times more stuff than all of us combined. But, sadly, he said, oh, no, you know what? I'm retiring, so I don't think I'm going to really have much time. And we bounced it around. We were kind of talking about doing it. And then, I think he just got wrapped up with finishing the show up, unfortunately. So that's a bummer. So actually, this is something that I wanted to do with him. And I actually reached out recently to see if he wanted to join me for this episode, possibly. But he declined, and it's all good. He doesn't want to do this stuff anymore. And got to respect that, man. We love Uncle Ken, and we definitely miss him. So that void will never be filled, unfortunately, because it was such a unique, awesome, positive, killer fucking show and experience, with what he did, and very unique, like I said. So different, the rest of us here, me starting up and everybody else is just a totally different thing, and that's cool. There's never going to be another Uncle Ken, so but just wanted to touch on that real quick. Hails to him, and I wish he'd be able to join me on this, but I'm going to move forward with the concept, and I have a bunch of others as well, so I'll probably have another 2 or 3 episodes of this in the future. We'll have to see. Another couple for sure, probably. At least one more for sure, for sure. So, man, I got a lot of stuff, ideas floating around that I want to cover, but, you know, the live tapes is definitely something that I wanted to touch on. So that's what we're going to discuss today. But since the original concept did include Mr. Ken Escobedo, I want to dedicate this show to him. So I will mention that. And he's here in spirit with me. So without further ado, let's fucking go. Yeah. So we're going to start with the mighty VOIVOD. That's VOIVOD from 1983 in, can't even pronounce this stuff. It's French Canadian, Jonquière, Quebec. I'm sorry. That's 1984. That footage there. So it's, you know, same time period. And the first live tape we're talking about is actually Anachronism, the first VOIVOD demo recording. Anachronism. So I was a member of the Iron Gang VOIVOD fan club because I love fucking VOIVOD. So me and my partner at EOG, Mr. Bart, we were both members of the Iron Gang because we both love fucking VOIVOD. So I did not get this from the Iron Gang. And so I got into VOIVOD probably like around 86. So the Iron Gang actually obviously started in 83, early 80s. So I got into VOIVOD in the mid 80s. I had never heard of them before. So there was when Ruin started up, real quick. So I got into VOIVOD obviously with the albums, you know, so I heard probably Roar, Killing Technology around that. And then I had to backtrack to the debut War and Pain. Loved all that stuff, obviously. I think War and Pain is still my favorite record. Killing Technology is up there too. But yeah, those first 3 or 4, the prime VOIVOD, are just fucking untouchable, you know, to me. So moving a little bit later real quick on how I acquired this tape. when Ruin got together, our bass player Stefan had a friend named Rishi, and Rishi was a member of the Iron Gang fan club, but he is OG, so he joined in the early 80s because he was a little older. So he had all these. So basically, we were trading tapes with Rishi because he had, you know, along with all the VOIVOD stuff, he had a lot of really cool demos from back in the day, you know, all the old shit that we were too young to get, you know, Metallica, Slayer, shit like that. He had all that stuff. So we were bootlegging and dubbing and all that. But yeah, he had actual, you know, and I think he probably got tape trader copies of those. But the VOIVOD, he actually got these from Away, who I believe started running the Iron Gang fan club, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously he probably had somebody handling that once VOIVOD, you know, started touring, getting known, blowing up, obviously becoming legends. You know, he probably couldn't handle all that anymore. So he had someone take care of that. But yeah, this VOIVOD tape, it's really cool. And I'll probably try to, I don't like breaking open a lot of the tapes because it's just a pain in the ass trying to keep track of everything. But yeah, so this is a actual copy of Rishi's original, and it's got really cool, you know, so Away obviously did the artwork and then did the liner notes. See, that's why I don't like opening the tapes up because I'm clumsy and I drop everything. So, but yeah, he did the liner notes and all the song titles and all that stuff. So this is a recording from 1983, and it's a live demo basically. So it's got a bunch of the early VOIVOD stuff and Venom covers and Tank covers and stuff like that. So yeah, it's fucking pretty badass. That footage that I played was from 1984. And here's a classic picture of the boys back in the day. Totally classic. I mean, this band here, whoo, fuck, you didn't want to. They were just handing everybody their asses on stage. They were fucking energetic, fucking brutal. Rest in peace, Piggy, man. You saw him ripping in that footage. So yeah, basically I wanted to, you know, just talk about some of these live tapes that I have and play some footage of various shows. If I don't have the actual exact, like with this one, I don't have the exact show on video because I don't think there one exists as far as I know, but got something in the ballpark, you know, within that era of that VOIVOD stuff. And then I believe this was actually the first time I saw them, and I believe this was 86. My brother, it was funny. Yeah, 86. My brother, it was like the summer of 86. So my brother and I went to this, and we both grew up in the hood, you know, so we were going to concerts. He was taking me when I was really young. So like I saw early stuff in 83, 84. First concert that I went to was 83, was AC/DC, or maybe that was even 81. Scorpions 83. Anyways, it's all a blur, but yeah, he was taking me. So you ever see those real young kids at concerts every once in a while, like at a big heavy metal show like Maiden or Priest or something? That was me back in the day. You know, I'd get on his shoulders and rock out and stuff. Yeah, I like that. Like the live shows. So, but yeah, it was VOIVOD and Celtic Frost on tour. They played Fenders, and this is the legendary FCDN Tormentor, fucking catastrophic death noise, playing opening the show for VOIVOD and Frost on this tour. And this was 86, and it was funny because, you know, Fender's fucking rough, man. It was a shithole, but there was a lot of tough dudes there. And my brothers are like, what the hell are we doing here, man? It's like we moved back to the hood or something. We're laughing because we grew up in the hood, you know, in Echo Park back when it was rough. And we kind of got out of there. So he was just like, I don't want to go back to the hood. But, you know, he took me to a few shows there. It was cool. We were just tripping out on the violence and stuff, you know. Definitely reminded us of our old neighborhood. It was like, God damn, man. You know, he was just joking. We got to make sure we come to a good show that's really worth it, you know. But this one was good. You know, we had a good time. VOIVOD definitely was killer. Frost was still killer. And, of course, we actually missed Tormentor. I didn't know who those guys were at this point. Unfortunately, getting down to Long Beach from LA back in the day was rough. And I think I moved to Orange County a few years after this, but Long Beach is a little closer. But yeah, trying to get down to Long Beach on certain nights was rough. So especially a Friday, I believe this was a Friday night. Traffic's just a beast even back then. And then There's another cool one that I saw because I saw this show too. Actually, I saw this tour like 2 or 3 times, VOIVOD and Creator. They played Celebrity Theater in Anaheim. They played the Country Club in Reseda. And I definitely went to those two. So it was definitely killer. And yeah, VOIVOD was, like I said, Creator was amazing that night as well, obviously. But, you know, this had this thing forever and ever. And it was cool that we're able to get, you know, because Away was making all kinds of demos and recordings, and most of it was live. So I have a big stack of these guys, and we were even bootlegging them, trading them. So, you know, chances are, if you weren't part of the Iron Gang and you didn't get original of this, then you probably got a copy of this from us, because we were sending them off and getting them spread around quite a bit. So yeah, that footage was Warriors of Ice from 1984 in Quebec. So fucking VOIVOD rules. Had to fucking rep the shirt today to kick off this episode. And this is one of the earliest. I'm going to try to do these in order as best as possible as far as the year. So I'll be going, you know, we're starting in 83 and then we're moving down towards the 90s eventually. Brutal. When they were still good. Celtic Frost. If you want to call them Celtic Frost, that's up to you. I don't do that. So that footage was live in Montreal, 1985. So again, right around the same ballpark of when they were still good. They started getting a little weird with what was the forget that stupid. I don't even like the album. So I mean, I know Cold Lake sucks, but the one prior to that, some people like it with the Mexican radio on there, and I can't even remember the damn name of it now at this point. But yeah, I didn't dig it. I knew they were getting a little weird. The band photos start, you know, you're looking at it going, and then the music on there. There's a couple of songs, I guess, are tolerable. Into the Pandemonium. There you go. Yeah, sorry if you like that album. Something's wrong with you. But anyways. Celtic Frost. And actually this live show is from Denver, Colorado in 1986. So again, same time period. So my buddy was pretty good at doing layouts and stuff, so he typed out the set list. The glare sucks, so it's old school, you know, label maker, you know, typewriters and all kinds of just gadgets that we had laying around doing stuff at Kinko's and mom and pop coffee shops and stuff. But yeah, so he made a pretty cool fold out cover, pictures of the guys and some skulls and stuff. And Yeah. So the set was still classic material. I don't think it's all literally, you know, Morbid Tales and to Megatherion era and all that, and the EPs and all that stuff. So yeah, classic stuff. And yeah, no, my buddy was he actually got really good at putting layouts together. He really went to town on this one. Not sure what year that he made this one, but we definitely had this in our tape trading arsenal, so to speak, and handing this out and slinging copies at shows to get, you know, it's like, yeah, we were doing some bootlegging, obviously, but it's not like we were making a shit ton of money off of it. It was basically to go to other shows and make more copies and get more tapes, you know. So, see if I can get the glare off. There it is. He just put Typical Theory on live, but yeah, this is all cut and paste stuff that he did himself. So he was pretty good with layouts. You know, back then we didn't have. Initially, I'm going to get into the next phase in a bit because I did the layouts on some of these other ones. But yeah, he made this, and you know, this made the rounds for sure. Got all over the place. There's a classic era of the boys. Look at all Hellhammer. Look at all Hellhammered, right? Same shit. And then here is one of the other shows that actually that's the same show, I believe, that I talked about earlier, but now this has Frost as the headliner. So yeah, I forgot Running Wild played. Yeah, they didn't go over very well at Fenders with that crowd. We did see St. Vitus, and they were fucking awesome. So we missed Tormentor, as I stated earlier. St. Vitus ruled, but people were not really ready for that type of, you know, doomy Sabbath stuff. But they were incredible. I became a fan that day, so I had to find out who the hell this band was, and even met the guys, and they were killer. And Lomita's finest, and of course VOIVOD. But yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I like Running Wild. You know, their early shit rules, but yeah, they didn't fit in at this show. They're trying to play some Jolly Roger fucking Pirates of the Caribbean shit, you know, and they ain't gonna fly. And luckily, Frost was still heavy because they got really fucking lame shortly after this. It just got worse and worse. So, and then there's another. Yeah, Fenders was crazy, man. It was a pretty violent show. Maybe not as violent as some of the other ones, like the hardcore shows like DRI and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it was fucking crazy. Poor Running Wild. I'll never forget that. Even as a kid, I felt bad for him. But yeah, St. Vitus, VOIVOD, and Frost all killed it. And that was the only LA appearance at that time. I think VOIVOD might have played some other shows. I wasn't able to really. I'll get into that as well a little bit as far as like going out of the area and up either down south to San Diego or Tijuana, or up north to the Bay Area to see some of these tours, because we were just like, fuck it, let's go check them out again, you know. But yeah, so that was the Frost portion. I got it upside down. There we go. That's the Celtic Frost live tape. So before I get into the next band, let's see, and we're still on some of the early stuff. Actually, I'll go ahead and move on to the next band before I get into what I wanted to get into.
I
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah, that was fucking brutal. You don't hear cryonics very often, right? So that was Slayer live in 1984 at the Roxy here in Hollywood, which the Roxy's still around. So yeah, this is a live Slayer bootleg. And this has all kinds of stuff on it, actually. So it actually does have that Roxy show. And yeah, so there's all kinds of little writing down at the bottom. I'm not going to, I don't know if you could zoom in. You see that when I put it up, but I'll just read it off. So it's got that show, which is an early show, obviously, 1984. So it's got a lot of Show No Mercy and Hunting the Chapel on there. So it's pretty much, I think it's almost the entire album and the entire EP. Pretty incredible. 1984 Slayer. There's a sound check from 1987, March of 1987, from London that's on there. So they're just actually playing some songs. They're playing them, though. There's no crowd response because they are sound checking, but this sounds pretty fucking awesome. Then there is a demo from 1984. And then some Kerry King demos of riffs, which, you know, is kind of cool. No big deal. But yeah, so this is like a compilation. And obviously this made the rounds back in the day, trading copies and whatnot. And, you know, Slayer with a fucking shit. Prime Slayer fucking rules, obviously. So here's an old picture of the boys back in the day when they're babies, just coming up. I think that's in between Hunting the Chapel, Hell Awaits era, so like 85, 86. And the first time I saw Slayer was at this show. I believe, yeah, fuck, man. I want to say this is 86. This is like the Rain and Blood era tour. I think Rain and Blood just came out not too long prior to this. The Olympic Auditorium was fucking nuts too. This show was really, really violent. And the Olympic fucking ruled. It was crazy. So yeah, it's quite a lineup. They had Overkill on tour with them. I think Metal Church might have been too. And then DRI. I mean, they almost stole the show, DRI. They were fucking amazing. And my brother and I missed Blast. So my brother and I went to this show. We missed Blast. I ended up liking Blast years later, but I didn't see him that night, unfortunately. Hard to get to shows in Los Angeles on a Friday night, even across town. You know, it was just, traffic's always been a nightmare here, even back then. But yeah, totally classic show. Then there was another show, found another cool flyer real quick out in Riverside. They just played a show out there. I think this might have been 87, 88 or something. Locals, Guillotine and Sinister Fiend, they used to play a lot of the shows. And I think even Sinister Fiend might be from out there. I have both bands' demos, I believe, from back in the day. Or at least I had them, not sure. I haven't seen them. So they're thrash, you know, thrash metal stuff. But yeah, classic stuff. Back on the stage here. There we go. So yeah, no, this live tape, really cool. I was glad that I actually found that video of the live Slayer stuff online. I'm crossing my fingers about the copyright. Live stuff shouldn't be a problem on YouTube. So if you're watching this, it probably passed. So that's a good thing. So now we're going to get into a little bit of the history of live tape bootlegs for a bit. Quick though, before I move on to the next tape and band, Slayer opened for Judas Priest in 87. That was one of the next times I saw them. And that was not a good pairing because that was the turbo era for Judas Priest. And they were kind of weak. I mean, they did play some classics, but the set was very turbo heavy. And yeah, I mean, could you imagine, you know, Rain and Blood era Slayer opening for turbo era Judas Priest? It sounds about as fucked up as it actually was. So it's probably, yeah, Judas Priest basically in my eyes got their ass handed to them. at that fucking juncture. It's hard to compete with that. And I fucking love Judas Priest, man, you know. But yeah, became a different story later, you know, Priest kind of seeing them in the 90s, 2000s. I mean, even I saw them a couple times with Ripper and they were still great, but then Rob came back and they were incredible. So kind of pulled it back together. This era, from what I remember, Priest lacked a lot of power that night, and Slayer just went over there and just bulldozed them. And it's kind of like when Metallica was opening for Ozzy, you know. The Ultimate Sin's a great record, you know, but that was still kind of like Ozzy's Elizabeth Taylor era. So they were kind of weak. So Metallica bulldozed them. And then, you know, it's just, it happens. It happens. But anyways, yep. Slayer Live, classic stuff. One of the classic live tapes that I have. Okay, so real quick before we get into the next band, I wanted to talk a little bit about the history, at least my history of like live tapes. So if we got lucky, we would get a soundboard recording from one of the shows we're at, which was rare, or we would get it in a tape trade with somebody. And, you know, we were, there was people like Steve-O and Mark from Impetigo and Pat from Hell Witch and I think John from Decaying Visions video zine. There was a video fanzine. That guy had a lot of videos. I know that the dude from Paul from Dying Terror fanzine, I was trading videos with him. I had my own video collection. Our friend Arturo Gallegos recorded everything. So we had a lot of resources. My buddy Justin up north from Necropolis, who I've talked about before, my black metal buddy, he had a lot of videos. There were some local guys here that had a lot of videos too, you know, Rafael Rivera and George Solis from Torched Records. So yeah, we had a lot of resources to get stuff. And sometimes we would even take the videos and make audio tapes from the video. So that's some of these tapes that I'm talking about today. That's where that came from. So we also had Video Pat from Long Beach. I've talked about him before. He was actually managing Terrorizer back in the day, and we became friends with him. He was friends with the Long Beach crew, and he recorded everything too. So he actually recorded some of these shows I'm going to be talking about here shortly. And we would get the video footage from Pat. So we would have the video and the audio. We'd make audio tapes and then move that forward. And so my partner with the OG, he was really good at doing the cut and paste layouts. So some of these, like I showed you, the Frost tape, he put that together. The Slayer, he did that too. He put that together, and just sometimes it was really simple, like that Slayer, and sometimes it was a little bit more extensive, like the Frost, where it's like he put a bunch of images in there. It all depended on timing and what was available, you know, because we would, like I said, it was cut and paste, almost like a fanzine. It was the same thing with the tape layout. So you had a template. You took a Sharpie and made your own template or whatever, and then you would just cut accordingly with that. Kinko's and the mom and pop copy places had all the cutters that were real convenient to where we didn't have all this stuff. I mean, you could use scissors and all that kind of stuff. We would do that, but at the volume of the tapes that we were making, you know, we got a lot of the work done at the copy places and whatnot. So I ended up I had a graphics class in high school at my high school that I went to. So I had 3 years of graphics, and we were one of the schools that had the old Macintosh computer systems. So we had a Macintosh Classic in the classroom, because the high school that I went to at that time for sophomore, junior, and senior year was a brand new school that was built. So they had all this new fancy stuff. So the graphics class had Macintosh Classics in it, so we can do layouts. So you can see the floppy disk drive there. So, and we, you know, some of us had computers at the house, our parents did, or whatever, mainly our parents. And we would be able to take stuff and put it on floppy disks and bring it to school or whatever, or we would just scan it. There was a desktop scanner that was attached to these Macintoshes. They weren't even called Macs. They were just Macintoshes. The word Mac didn't even exist yet. So it was pretty funny. They're brand new things. And on these, there was Quark Express, which was a layout program, and there was the Photoshop One, the very first Photoshop. So I actually was taught Quark Express and Photoshop in high school. So I started doing layouts as well when I would have time. And so my teacher, Mr. Perry, he was from Katy, Texas, outside of Houston. Buc-ee's is right there. The famous Buc-ee's is right there in Katy. But yeah, Katy is like a suburb of Houston. And Mr. Perry, big old Texan, big old dude. And I used to sell him weed too. Shh, I didn't say that. But yeah, so he let me slack off too because I was selling him weed. But he was a stoner. Him and his wife were partaking in the marijuana. He even, one summer he went to Jamaica and he brought me some Jamaican, like, crazy ass weed back. And I was like, how the fuck did you get it back? And he's like, oh, you put it in Kodak film containers, little canisters that have the film rolls in them back in the day, and it seals them up. And obviously the airport can see and smell, and the dogs, and if they want to, they got dogs running through, they'll find all that shit now. But back in the day, you can get away with that. So yeah, he brought some weed back from Jamaica, and fucking holy shit, got fucking stoned off our ass. And yeah, so Mr. Perry was fucking cool, though. He taught me a lot. He actually, I wish I would have continued. He was trying to push me to get into graphics because he said, T-shirts and posters and all this stuff, getting into screen printing is going to be big business. And he was right. It still is to this day, even with technology. But yeah, that's the Macintosh Classic there with Quark Express and Photoshop One. And that's how I ended up doing some of the layouts of the tapes that we made, the bootlegs and stuff, and a handful of these that I'm going to show you today. Some of them Bart made, some of them I made, and then some of them, we just got from other people, obviously. But I will be back here in a second. Until then, enjoy this footage. Brutal stuff. That video is pretty fucking funny too. There's like a security guard, stage guy or whatever. He's out there sprechen Sie Schwarzkopf. He's yelling at all these fucking stage divers and fucking slam pit motherfuckers. They're all pissed. People are fucking losing their shit to KREATOR. But you could see, fuck how fast they were at the beginning of Endless Pain right there. Holy shit. Like fucking, this fucking Ventor was about to fucking lose his shit there. But let's see. Make sure there's a KREATOR live tape that I made. So yeah, I did all this in the program back in the day with the Macintosh Classic. This is KREATOR live in Pforzheim, Germany, 1986. So yeah, Endless Pain on speed for sure. And yeah, just to see if you can see this, get the glare off of there. So yeah, just a real easy layout. There's the song titles. Yeah, I was able to find that footage of this live tape. So Yeah, it's an example of like a classic show that just made the rounds, you know. It made the rounds all over the place back in the day. But yeah, this is like one of the first tape layouts that I made in high school. Pretty fucking cool, you know. These got around, obviously, as you can see, Creator were fucking gods, man. They were one of the best in that era. Untouchable. I fucking loved fucking Creator. They were incredible. So, total classic band. Here's the era there. 80, 86, 87. Found some cool flyers too. Found a shit ton of them actually. So yeah, right around the same time. I mean, between, you know, when they kind of started coming to America, I showed you that Creator VOIVOD flyer on the VOIVOD segment. This is the country club. They toured with Corner over here for, I think it was a little bit prior to Extreme Aggression, but it might have been Extreme Aggression, which fucking, I love Extreme Aggression. Classic, straight up thrash record. I thought it was actually, I know it's blasphemy, but Terrible Certainty is killer, but it lacks some power and punch to it, you know? It was kind of bizarre. I mean, how do you follow up Pleasure to Kill, which is like by far my favorite. Endless Pain fucking is unbelievable too, but Pleasure to Kill is like borderline death metal. It's so fucking brutal. And Terrible Certainty, just when I first heard it, I was kind of like, you know, Toxic Trace rules, some great songs, but I thought Extreme Aggression just really, you know, like the title, it had extreme aggression to it. And yeah, so there's like there's an ad for Creator and Corner, and then another one like in some of there's Jezebels. Now Jezebels was a small bar in Anaheim, so you imagine Creator, Corner, Annihilation, and Comatose. I think those are just Annihilation and Comatose are just local thrash bands, but you know, Corner was killer too on this tour. They were rad. But Creator was in prime form, man. You know, it was so fucking brutal. But yeah, you could see there was still glam going on at the time. Vane's kind of like, you know, kind of pretty boy heavy metal. They're still metal. Lizzie Borden still has their moments. You know, Junkyard, they were good rock and stuff, like kind of sleazy stuff. I think it was dude from Minor Threat was in this band. You know, he wanted to get his Hanoi Rocks on before he joined Bad Religion, or I think that what he did, Circle Jerk, one of those bands. I know he joined one of those bands. Let's see what else we got here. So, you know, between 86 and 89, I was going to a lot of Corner shows. This flyer is at Iguanas in Tijuana. So me and my buddies went down there to TJ. We can even underage drink down there. Back in the day, they didn't idea. So we were drinking beers and having a good old time. And yeah, I believe, so this tour was the first time I saw Creator, I believe, was 87. They played Celebrity Theater in Anaheim and the Country Club. And then every time they came around, I definitely went. Kind of, there's 88. That's the next time they came. They played Los Angeles at the end. And then here's a classic at the Celebrity Theater. I was at this too. DRI was the headliner, but Creator and Holy Terror played too. That's one of my all-time favorite shows. It was so fucking nuts. Prime DRI, Prime Creator, and Prime Holy Terror. Holy Terror is fucking underrated. They're fucking great. Killer fucking band, especially live. So, yeah, classic stuff. So, yeah, the show, the video footage that I played and this live tape is, like I said, a whole live set in Germany, in their home country, 1986. So few bands could compete with Creator back then. They were fucking definitely fucking thrashy and heavy duty, you know. So say hello to the first tape layout that I ever did on the Macintosh Classic with Quark Express and Photoshop. We could mess with logos and stuff. And Illustrator didn't even exist, believe it or not. So Mr. Perry was teaching us because he mastered all that stuff by then. He was in the Mac game early. So he was ahead of the curve, definitely was good at this stuff. And, you know, we were able to screen print shirts and posters in class. So I made all kinds of stuff at that time. So I had 3 years of it. So I was making all kinds of cool bootleg shirts, you know, Sabbath, death metal demo shirts. Made my own Sadistic Intent shirt, my own Demolition shirt. It's pretty cool. Was printing, you know, posters of both bands hanging up in my room and stuff. Autopsy, you know, Morbid Angel. Yeah, it was fucking good times, good times. But yeah, Prime Creator. Don't sleep on them, you know. Fucking that era. Oof. Fucking heavy duty. But yeah, it always seemed like when bands played the country club, there were always hats there, and I was a hat guy. So I bought a Creator hat back in the day in one of those shows, and I don't know what happened to it. I showed you guys the Morbid Angel hat last week, or last episode, and I was able to hold on to that, but the Creator hat's long gone, unfortunately. But like I said, fucking Creator. Good stuff. Cork Express, Photoshop One, Macintosh Classic. Thank you. Thank you, Apple. The little Apple logo on there. Mac didn't exist. And thank you, Mr. Perry. Wherever you are, you probably passed on. Rest in peace. But if you're still here, you're like 97, 98 years old, smoking in the old folks' home, living it up. Oh, yeah. Classic stuff. Fucking Pungent Stench. There's another tape that I made. I don't know if you can see the spine. It's all fucking faded. Can get the glare off of there too. But yeah, just a generic, good old 90s fonts, you know. I just took some images, nothing fancy. Obviously, you got to use the Bin Cop buttering dudes, and then there's just some band photo that I found. So that footage that I showed is live in Poland in 1988. This tape is actually in their home country of Austria from 88 as well. It's some sort of soundboard footage. There was quite a bit of that coming out for Pungent Stench. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but back in the day, there was actually, like, on my old tape trading list, I just remember seeing a lot of Pungent Stench live shows, audios. So maybe someone was video recording them and taping them and stuff, and, you know, putting them onto audio. But there, even if you look now on YouTube, there's a good handful of Pungent Stench shows that exist audio soundboard wise. So new rips, remastered a little bit just to take the hiss out and stuff like that. Pretty cool. Looking at the comments of some of the dudes that are posting this stuff. Really cool. But yeah, so that footage was Poland, same era, you know, the early 88, 89, you know. Most of the good stuff is around that era. Pungent Stench fucking rules. That old Pungent Stench era with, you know, the Extreme Deformity 7-inch, the demo. Was it the Mucus Secretion? I think that was the name of it. The split with Disharmonic Orchestra. And then, of course, For God Your Soul, For Me Your Flesh. And then Big Cop Buttering. Fucking, yeah. The stuff after that's cool, you know. But the early stuff's the best. They started getting a little goofy and humorous and implementing dance stuff. And they still did some heavy-duty stuff. I think the first, this was real aggravating, unfortunately. I can't, no matter what I did, I couldn't get the flyer to fucking post right side up. So it keeps showing up sideways, but it's just a glitch for some reason. Couldn't figure the goddamn thing out. But Fear Factory, actually, you know, they brought Assuck out here. They brought Pungent Stench out here. I believe this is the first time. And then Phobia played. And yeah, no, this was a great show. I was at this show, got to connect with Alex and Martin, because I had wrote to both of them over the years and became friends, and killer dudes. But I couldn't find the flyer for the next time they came with Brutal Truth. They toured together and they played the Showcase and the Roxy, and that was great. I was able to hang out with Martin, get him a big old fat bag of weed because he wanted marijuanas. So I had it and hooked him up. So that was cool. Got to hang out backstage and back in my smoking days, you know, do that. But yeah, this was another layout that I did in on the Macintosh Classic in class, Quark Express and Photoshop 1. Good times. So nothing fancy. Like I said, just quick, put it together pretty quick. Generic images that I was able to scan on the desktop scanner, put them in, or just on the floppy disk or whatever, or just, you know, I just bring in flyers or magazines and stuff like that. That's how we would have to get images, because we didn't have Google or Discogs or, you know, Metal Archives or any of this stuff that exists today. So Pungent Stench is definitely another classic live tape, classic band of this era, and one of the next, you know, tapes that I put together. It really didn't have a rhyme or reason behind what bands, you know, we decided to make live tapes of. It was just whoever we loved and whoever wanted them, you know, whatever the need was. Obviously popular stuff was easy, like Slayer and Voivod and stuff like that. But then, you know, stuff like Pungent Stench, only the diehards were into it at that time. You know, we were even in 1990, you know, they got more known later, like on that tour of Brutal Truth and all that, the Mondo Bazaar and all those weird albums. You know, I think they were still on Nuclear Blast for a while doing all that stuff. So, but early on, not a lot of people knew who they were. And, you know, we were lucky to get the old 88 footage, because I hadn't heard the Pungent Stench until like 89, 90, around there. I think it was 89 when ran across that Extreme Deformity 7-inch at Wild Rags. Then I had to backtrack and try to figure out what else they had, because then there was that Blood, Pus, and Gastric Juice split with Benediction. So Nuclear Blast just put out a quick thing. It was that song, Pungent Stench, and then on the other side was Benediction, and it had the Subconscious Terror, you know, cover on it was a weird split, you know, but I got that one too. I'll be talking about that soon. But so yeah, Pungent Stench, they fucking ruled. Brutal stuff, man. Bolt thrower didn't fuck around. That was live in London, 1988. And this is a old bolt thrower fucking recording. This is the In Battle There Is No Law era. I got this from Krusty Russell. I've talked about Russell in the past. He's my crusty pal that I would get tapes from periodically. And yeah, no, he hooked me up the fucking bolt thrower fucking live. And it's like 8 songs. Nothing spectacular. The original copy that he had actually had this big fold out. It almost folded out like a poster, but mine's just a generic, just real generic inlay card bolt thrower. But it sounds fucking pretty good for a bootleg. He's got the red tape, the classic weird red. I don't know where he got these things. They were so rare back in the day. It's kind of funny. But one of the other demos he gave me had a red tape too. He must have stole them from somewhere. Crazy fucker. But yeah, bolt thrower fucking rules. There they are back in the day with the old logo. Youngins. Getting ready to get heavy. Crusty fuckers. So obviously I didn't see bolt thrower in 1988. And I wasn't in London. I've never been to London, unfortunately. So although I'd like to go at some point. Here is the first time bolt thrower came here in 1991. So I was at this show. This was a generic, ad that ran in local newspapers or whatnot that I found. It's actually, this is it's like a newspaper cutout from like BAM magazine or The Recycler, whatever was around. But kind of bizarre, some weird pumpkin up there on the left. This is Sinbad Productions. That's Izat that did Spanky's and later the Corona Showcase Theater. But he also did stuff at the Granada Theater in the Ontario area, which is over by the airport out there in the Inland Empire. And Sacrifice, Believer. And it was kind of funny because originally Blasphemy was supposed to play, apparently. And they were on some flyers. I have that flyer somewhere with Blasphemy's logo on it. It's got the Fallen Angel of Doom cover in black and white. And yeah, Blasphemy was on the flyer. We were so fucking excited because, by this time Sacrifice was kind of lame. Believer, I never got into. The openers for this show, they did not listed here, but Mind Rot and NAUSEA, Los Angeles, Oscar Garcia. They opened and they were fucking great. So it was almost like, and then Blasphemy, they couldn't make it into America because they got criminal records and stuff like that. I guess that's the reason why they weren't able to play. This flyer I ran across and I was like, I don't remember Power Assault and Contempt. So maybe they played prior to me getting to that show, but the show that I saw was Mind Rot and NAUSEA. I don't think bolt thrower did a second show back then, as far as I know. See, it says Spanky's, but they didn't play Spanky's. So I think this show got nixed and they moved it because it was just bolt thrower was, they were pretty, but that's Earache was already blowing up at this time. So I don't think Spanky's could fucking hold a bolt thrower show there, but hey, crazier things have happened. I mean, Morbid Angel was still playing Spanky's, I guess, and they were pretty fucking well known. But yeah, old school bolt thrower, man. The old real crusty stuff where they still had a Ripper crust influence, like the Peel sessions and the In Battle There Is No Law, their demo. Never got a copy of the demo, but the demo has some of these songs that they're playing off In Battle There Is No Law and those old Peel sessions that were fucking brutal. So they kind of had a UK anarcho-punk influence along to, like Axe Grinder, Old Hell Bastard, stuff, Amoebics, stuff like that. The prodding, brooding, mid-pace, double bass, but then bolt thrower started getting heavy duty, putting some blast beats in there, some death metal riffs. The Slayer solos were always there. Carl's vocals got heavier. So yeah, they evolved into one of the heaviest bands of all time. Absolutely love fucking bolt thrower. So I wore this fucking tape out. Classic stuff. Thanks, fucking Krusty Russ. Crazy motherfucker, if you're still around. But yeah, bolt thrower was just absolutely soul-crushingly heavy at that show in 91. That was my senior year of high school, too, on a Thursday night. was able to sneak out and get to that show. I had school on Friday, but so no partying for me that night. I wanted to make sure that I was of stable mind to watch fucking the Mighty Bolt Thrower fucking absolutely destroy the place, and they sure did. One of my all-time favorite shows for sure. That's fucking quite a crowd right there. A few things can top a crazy metal show in Mexico. That was Sepultura live in Mexico. And that was 1989. That was probably around the same time that they did their first set of shows here. And I know that it was kind of set up DIY, back then. Because they were a sensation worldwide with Beneath the Remains. And they fucking blew up, but they were still new to touring the world, basically. So their first time in North America was kind of shaky. I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, that was an incredible footage. That was To the Wall, one of the classics off of one of my all-time favorite albums, Schizophrenia. So here's another Macintosh classic, Cork Express, Sepultura, live in 89. And actually, this is the New York show. I worked on this. Where's the, get off the glare. Put the old Besto Devastation logo on there, on the side. And then it's pretty cool because they played the legendary L'Amour venue. So I put the L'Amour logo on the lip there. Pretty fucking cool. And then just a generic. I just put the song titles in the info. So it's Sepultura live in New York City. But that footage in Mexico was, the same era. I didn't find YouTube footage of the New York City show. It probably is out there. I think there was some audio on another channel, but not a video. So, but yeah, this is one of the, grab the image from a magazine or something, or scanned it, or a sticker. I think actually the top part's a sticker from the Schizophrenia era. And I'd seen that this was a shirt. I never had this shirt. Might have seen it at Wild Rags before, maybe not. I can't remember, but I did have a Schizophrenia shirt, but it was actually the actual cover. But I think this was the art design from that. And then just a band picture. Throw it on there. But yeah, Macintosh Classic Special. I'm telling you, I was a fucking burgeoning designer back in the day, and should have stuck with it, like Mr. Perry said. There's the boys. Some babies right there. I think this is early on when they just got Andreas after Jairo left, after Morbid Vision. So this is the Schizophrenia era. So 88, 89, same time frame. So when Sepultura came here, this was the show that they were supposed to play. So this show was actually supposed to take place at Fender's. And Sadistic Intent was opening, and I don't know what other bands were playing. All I know is that Sepultura was in town, and we fucking loved them. And our friends in Sadistic Intent were opening, so we were there. And this was, I believe, a Friday night. And so we got all the way out to Long Beach, went to Fender's, and lo and behold, Fender's was closed. The venue had shut down, and there was no communication to Sepultura, the promoter, anybody. Sadistic Intent. We were just dumbfounded, like, what the fuck? So we parked around the corner and just kind of licked our wounds because we were devastated. You know, we didn't get to see our heroes. And then rumor came back to us. I think it was like Carlos from Demolition ran over. Okay, the show's been moved. So this current flyer here, see, it says, I think the Pan American Community Center, maybe that was supposed to happen. This show never happened technically, though, but the flyer was made. So, yeah, we went to Fender's. Then we heard it got moved to the Pan American Community Center, da-da-da-da-da. Then it was supposed to take place at some, like, church thing. Maybe that's the Pan American Community Center or whatever. But that place was closed, too. But all the Sadistic guys and the Sepultura guys were hanging out in the parking lot. So we just drank beers in this church parking lot and smoked some weed, drank some beers, and hung out with the boys. And that was it. There was no place to play for them. They had to, you know, get set for the next show. I'm not really sure when it was, but apparently there was a lot of issues on this first tour for Sepultura. And, you know, the New York show happened. You know, that's why I got this. So that's great. But, you know, some of the other shows were the same thing as Los Angeles, unfortunately. So, yeah, a couple years later, year and a half later or so, if that, they came back with Obituary and Sadist. So that was a great, great fucking show at the Country Club. Unfortunately, the Country Club closed not too far after this, but yeah, it was great. And, you know, we were good friends with Silent Scream, so I was able to get tickets from those guys. Those guys are from Long Beach, local band in the LBC. And by, you know, 91, I was living in Orange County, so I was able to either go to Long Beach pretty easily, or they would come to the EOG compound in Anaheim over at Bart's house, and we would get tickets from them and whatnot. And then Death, Cold, and Sarcastic were a couple of local bands. Again, I mean, for this, they should have had Sadistic and Demolition and shit like that. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Whatever. You get the heavy hitters when the big tours come through. But I guess, you know, Sadistic and Demolition can't play every single show. So, but yeah, this was a legendary show. Sadist, Obituary, Sepultura fucking ruled. And killer times. So their first time in America, unfortunately, did not go smoothly. But yeah, this was a fun tape to put together in class and get that out there to the tape traders. And, you know, we would sell them at shows here and there periodically. Like I said, we weren't making bank off of them or anything, but good shit. Back then, Sepultura was a machine. They were a killing machine. They were one of the best bands around. So that's why they blew up. But yeah, live, they were just incredible. They were just, as you can see in that footage, they were just crushing. Totally killer. fucking brutal, man. You just witnessed a band in their prime that might be the best band ever. You are hard pressed to find something that is better in the death metal realm for sure than that fucking what you just saw right there. Fucking Trey's biting his fucking arm so he gets the blood flowing. That's some crazy shit. He used to do that at every fucking show. He'd bite himself so he'd bleed. And those guys were just fucking demons, dude. Just total fucking demons. So, when Morbid Angel first came here, obviously it was a huge event. That footage is the infamous Fagersta Sweden show in early 1990. So when they came to Sweden, everything changed. If you read in the Swedish death metal book, you know, they say Morbid Angel were just gods. That was the night that changed everything in the death metal scene there. And it just fucking exploded because Morbid Angel kind of kicked things off with the brutality. So everybody got heavier. There was even Finns that came down for that. And obviously Finland, you know, same thing. Everybody just got heavy and fucking fast and brutal. Wanted to follow in the footsteps of the gods. So this is one of the Morbid Angel bootlegs. This is the second show, Saturday, December 1st at the Country Club. And my buddy did this layout. Put it together, you know, kind of, like I said, cut and paste style. Very simple. Kind of just threw together a quick layout. The song titles are all on the side right there. So yeah, it's just Altars of Madness classics and 2 or 3 Abomination songs. Incredible. And, you know, same brutality that you just saw. Like I said, that video footage of Sweden, there I didn't find any video footage, unfortunately, of the country club shows here. There was 2 of them, Friday night and Saturday night. So, and then this is one of the tapes that I made in class, printed on red. This Morbid Angel goes on blood red. Gotta love those 90s fonts, man. Let's see. Take a look. It's just a... I didn't get too crazy with the layouts. Very simple and straightforward. Just threw a logo on there. And oh, I didn't put the song titles on mine. It's Morbid Angel live at the Country Club. So this is the Friday night show. And also, as part of this group, I got 4 tapes here. So the 2 Morbid Angels, or 3 tapes. 2 Morbid Angels. This is hard to see, unfortunately. Make sure I get this right. So it's printed on some. So this is, see if you can see that. Sadistic Intent and Nausea. This is just a quick thing that I threw together because we had audio footage of the entire show on Friday night. So Sadistic Intent and Nausea opened up. And I just threw this together. Just put the logos on there. I don't have any song titles or anything like that. I was still kind of new to these bands. I was, you know, friends with Sadistic for sure. Knew the Nausea guys. But yeah, so we had a board recording of the Sadistic and Nausea set. So we did a little split tape, passed it around to some close friends. Of course, the guys were cool with it because we were diehards. You know, we weren't making a bunch of money off of it or anything like that. But this is the show, the Friday show. Fortunately, I couldn't find the Saturday show flyer because Demolition and Entity made their debut opening for Morbid Angel, their very first show, I believe. They opened the show, and then Demolition also played, so it was classic. That was Saturday. This is Friday night. And Chronic Atrocity, I don't remember them at all. I know they were a local band. I don't know if they were any good. It's pretty cool you see down there, coming soon, Autopsy. But this flyer has made the rounds online. It's pretty legendary. Morbid Angel has it up on their site. Sadistic has it up on their site. You know, I've seen it around. People print it out, put it on their wall now. the old schoolers like me, we have it. I have it up on my wall, like I mentioned last week. So pretty incredible. But here's the great picture. That's the same picture that I used. That it was kind of cool because Morbid Angel was so beloved back in the day. We used to get actual photos like this that they would be printed out like in the mail and stuff. Friends would send them to us. So we had a glossy cover of this. That's how I was able to scan it and get it on onto the system, you know, the Macintosh Classic at school, and get it scanned to make the tape layout and stuff in good old Cork Express. But yeah, so this was like a glossy, you know, those promo PR type handouts that I think I'll show one here shortly of actual label one. So it has like the band logo, a band picture, and it has the label down at the bottom. I'll show you guys. But this was just a generic underground one that someone made, and it was a glossy printout, you know, like a mini poster of the guys, classic era. And then here is another flyer that Sadistic played with Morbid, and then of course Entombed Unleashed. I'll talk about this tour shortly, actually, is in conjunction with one of the other bands I'm going to be talking about. But yeah, so I got 3 live tapes associated with the Morbid Angel shows that weekend. So I got both Morbid Angels, and then I got the Sadistic Intent and Nausea recordings. Unfortunately, I would have loved to make a Demolition and Entity split tape 2, which I would have done, but as far as my memory serves me, you know, for some reason we didn't get a copy of that. We got the audio of the Friday show, but not the Saturday, unless maybe that Saturday audio is lost somewhere, or just sitting somewhere, and we just didn't get a chance to make the Demolition and Entity split tape, because that would have been cool, because we were friends with those guys too. So both bands are awesome. That's why we did the Sadistic and Nausea as well. So yeah, classic stuff. Morbid Angel were fucking gods, as you can see there. So there's a reason why they kind of became the kings of death metal there for a while. But yeah, it gives you a basic idea. So one of the Morbid Angel tapes, my buddy made, and then the other Morbid Angel tape I made. So we kind of we would trade off. He did a hell of a lot more work and was really good with the cut and paste stuff, you know, because he also was the main guy doing the fanzine layout too for Extinction of God. So he got really good at it. You know, and a lot of times we'd make our layouts and there'd be, you know, some color gaps or whatever, and you just take a Sharpie, you know, take a black marker and just, you know, you just fill that stuff in, especially since most of these tapes have black on them, because we're fucking, you know, we're death metal heads, man. Crazy ripping death thrashers. So that's what we, you know, black is always associated with that evil shit, man. Especially Morbid Angel. Just go in there, fill all the gaps in or whatever. Good to go. Oh, yeah. The mighty CARCASS. when they were gods. And this made the rounds back in the day. This is one of the early versions of the live Carcass. This tape right here started it all for us as far as our collections exploding and the network becoming much more vast, because everybody and their mother wanted this live fucking Carcass tape. So our buddy Video Pat, who I mentioned earlier from Long Beach, he's still around too. He actually recorded the Carcass at the country club. So it was Death, Pestilence, and Carcass that played that show at the country club. Legendary stuff, 1990. So that's where that footage is from. And what we did is we took Pat's video and not only made video copies for friends, but we made some audios too. So the tapes got out there. And Bart actually ended up making a bunch of different covers of this, but it was mainly just the logo and this rotting woman's face that became infamous. We even made some shirts for friends because thousands of these tapes, just like crazy. You know, they were just in demand because Carcass and Earache Records in general was just blowing up. Morbid Angel, Napalm Death, Bolt Thrower, Carcass, later Entombed, just everything was blowing up. And anything Earache related was in demand, but especially Carcass. Carcass exploded. You know, these bands were really unique too, you know, so Carcass was a little bit different, you know, because they were disgusting and down-tuned, and the vocals, Bill Steer's vocals was, you know, fucking incredible. Jeff's fucking shrieking screams. So yeah, this is an early version of the Carcass. The Bart had actually changed it up a little bit, you know, but yeah, this one has the big logo on the lip, the smaller logo on the spine. Excuse me. And then some of the info from the set there on the inside. But there's a bunch of different versions of this. I think he finally settled on a little bit fancier one that had the complete set list or whatnot. But yeah, I ran across this old version, and this bootleg actually got bootlegged. And I was looking on Discogs, and I ran into that and was laughing because there's some dude in Ohio now. You know, again, it's a bootleg, but it's the same, you know, literally the same image that we grabbed from a horror magazine, or like Alarma, you know, the crazy Mexican gore magazine back in the day. The cartels and the drug dealers would murder people. They still do, but back in the day, there was Alarma magazine. They would follow all those stories. So we would get all kinds of gory pictures from Alarma, because we'd have friends coming and going to Mexico City, do some Mexican connections, and even some of the Mexican bands we write to, they would send us Alarma magazines in the packages if we asked for them. If we were friendly with them and trading, then we'd, hey, you have Alarma? You know, because I'm not really sure. I think you could get it in certain parts of LA, some of the neighborhoods that, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't remember actually going looking for them. It was always hard to find, and they might have even been banned here. But yeah, somebody correct me if I have any watchers that are familiar with that. If you were ever able to buy an Alarma magazine here in Los Angeles, let me know. I'd be interested. See where you got it. Maybe some of the markets in certain Latino neighborhoods on the east side or the south side sold them, but not as far as I know, but I might be wrong. But yeah, this fucking Carcass just kind of came. This show was incredible. Oh, here's what I was talking about as far as the glossy promo ad type things, or like promo pictures, right? So there's the Earache logo, which is funny. It's bigger than the Carcass logo, but there's the guys, the original. That footage there, Michael Amott had just joined. So Carnage dissolved, and Michael Amott was friends with Bill and decided to join Carcass. And but I wanted to show a classic picture of the trio, Symphonies of Sickness OG, because that's the songs they were playing on this initial tour with Death and Pestilence. And here is one of the flyers to that Death and Pestilence show. Sarcastic opened that one for some odd reason. That's Awesome Possum Productions. That was one of the promoters that used to do shows all the time. Never really knew that person. think his name might have been Ron. I'm not 100% sure, but it's funny how the Carcass logo is down below. That's kind of, they were somewhat getting disrespected. You know, some of the flyers that I've seen around out and about, you know, the Carcass logo either isn't on there or it's like kind of drawn on there like this one. These are our friends. Silent Scream also played. They made their own flyer, which is fine. You know, they got the Silent Scream logo up there. They hand drew it. And then there's the Death logo, Pestilence, and then Carcass is kind of drawn on there with the sarcastic down in the bottom right. But I don't know. Carcass was not as known yet to some of these people, because some of these bands that I'm talking about, they're a little bit more thrashy, you know. I mean, they got into Death and Sepultura and stuff like that, but a lot of these guys had never heard Carcass before. So it was a new thing to them. But yeah, when Carcass, for that show, when they first played here, that fucking changed everything for us, because everybody started getting heavier, you know. It was just, they were just incredible. It was a sight to behold for sure, and sight to experience in your ears and your soul. It's fucking heavy and fast as all fuck. Totally disgusting, incredible. They had these white Carcass shirts with like an orange logo and a bunch of gore on them, and then in the back it had the font "I reek of putrefaction." You've seen that. They've redone that, you know, recently too. I've seen bootlegs and stuff, but yeah, that was the shirt. And I remember we went to Iguanas and saw them there. Went up north to the Bay Area, saw that there. I couldn't find any of those flyers, but I saw Carcass 3 times on that tour. Had to. Death was washed up by this time. You know, it was like Spiritual Healing. It was weak. Sorry if you like that album. I don't dig it, but they were boring as fuck live. Pestilence was fucking awesome. Van Drunen up there with a Sadistic Intent shirt at the country club show. That was incredible. And but yeah, Pestilence fucking ruled. Seeing Pestilence and Carcass basically 3 times, because I didn't really care about Death at that point. They kind of, to me, they were kind of washed up and they were moving on to, you know, the technical stuff and all that. So yeah, they became a different thing and changed the logo. They dropped some of the stuff off. Whatever. So the fucking Carcass. So that was that. So yeah, this Carcass tape, Bart, myself, and Pat were behind the plague of the live Carcass bootleg worldwide. Got all over the place. So if you've seen the tape around, you know anybody that has it, that's from us. We started that shit. Like I said, I don't know if that dude in Ohio or whatever that was on Discogs, like if he did it on his own, or maybe Bart wrote to him and he decided to put out a version himself. I have no idea. I can't remember, but yeah. Security guards ended up losing that battle eventually. But there's some classic footage. That's Napalm Death at the country club again. That was my home away from home for many years, and that was an incredible show. So that was 1990, and it was the Harmony Corruption tour lineup, the Grind Crusher tour that I talked about last episode with Nocturnus. That was with Napalm, Godflesh, and Nocturnus at the country club. Legendary night. Napalm fucking just murdered that place. I mentioned that last week too. Barney was sick, so I think they even cut the set a little bit short because he was just really dying up there. He had a really bad food poisoning. Probably drank the water in Mexico or something on the way up. So, yeah, because that tour also Iguanas, San Diego, and LA and the Bay Area. And I think me and my buddies saw him 3 times, 2-3 times for sure on that tour. Had to catch him. Had to see Napalm. And then, of course, Godflesh fucking ruled. Like I said, I wasn't a Nocturnus fan at that point. I like the old stuff. But, you know, Godflesh and Napalm, sign me up. Sign me up, baby. But anyways, real quick, I'll get into the show first, then I'll talk about the tape. There's the flyer, and there's Sarcastic again, and Death Cult Vehemence, my buddy Ralph, cool guy. Crimson Death, the original band, is awesome. Vehemence, not so much. But yeah, and then Death Cult Sarcastic, whatever, man. But yeah, this was a 420 Saturday. Fucking A. Earache Combat, Napalm Death, Grind Crusher Tour. There's Awesome Possum again. So the oh yeah, here's the so I showed this flyer last week, and here's the losing battle. I showed this picture last week too, but I'll show it again. I mean, you saw the crowd getting nuts. Security guard just lost control, and then eventually it was just like, well, let him up on stage. Fuck it. There was so much madness going on. Everybody just bum rushed it. In that footage too, there's people stage diving. A bunch of my buddies were stage diving. Robert from Nero One and Ruin, Bart, EOG, John Lee, my singer of Malfunction, Shane from Phobia, Marco from Phobia, Bobby from Entity, maybe Richard from Entity. You know, it's just I remember just seeing all these people I knew were up there. Boom, they'd run out and fucking flip and stage dive. It was crazy. I think several of these guys were doing it over and over again. I'm just in the back, stoned off my ass with Carlos and Demolition. Watching this, I couldn't even move. I was just like, oh my God, Napalm Death fucking rules. Yeah, they were incredible. And then getting even more stoned, fucking Godflesh. Holy shit. But here, let me show this picture of the boys real quick. So there's the Harmony Corruption, Death by Manipulation era lineup right there. Napalm Death, man. Mick Tornado and Jesse Pintado, rest in peace. There's cool ass Mick, cool ass Shane, and cool ass Barney. These guys they're some of the nicest guys, man. They're all really fucking cool, down to earth, all of them. So, you know, we miss Jesse for sure. Real mellow, quiet dude. Mick was a maniac, great fucking drummer. I know he's, you know, he did Crawl and some other stuff later on. I think that was his band. I forget, but he did some slower stuff. He got into Cockatoo Twins and stuff. Old Swans, New Swans, as you see. Remember the Live Corruption video? Jane's Addiction. We're into different types of stuff. Old Swans, New Swans. So, yeah, he was into all kinds of shit. He moved on and to do that. But here is the Napalm Death Grind Crusher tour tape. Very simple. I'm not sure if Bart made this or somebody else did, to be honest with you. Very simple. Very simple layout. No song titles. They were just a blur anyways. But a little skull, a little earache, a little bit of info. And then there was that's a red one. This is the red one. And then inside there was a black and white one too. Well, pretty cool. I was like, oh, shit. Cool. But yeah, we definitely moved a lot of these too, trading and slanging them at shows periodically. Mostly trading though, you know, but yeah, no, absolute classic. As you saw that footage, it was totally fucking insane. Totally insane. Lots of fun. Lots of fun. And you know, one thing I forgot to do, actually, let me play some. I got to go back. I'm going to backtrack now, unfortunately. So that was Napalm, but I forgot to play the Sadistic Intent and Nausea footage. So let me do that. Enjoy that, and I'll set up for the last couple live tapes. Let's see. Let me go grab that stuff. Okay, here's some Sadistic Intent real quick. I just realized that. Sorry about that. Here it is.
Before my eyes, nothing but a thought, everything is gone. All rock, the net, just inside my head. Just a light, and I forget what gets back to prayer. Young long, taboo, going off the day. My back, my dog, see them everywhere. Listen to, enjoy, try and find my place. Rip us all, into hell, and now we're afraid. Now that, get lost, as you try to hear. My body, see with,
Oh, yeah, there we go. All is right in the world. So my apologies. You know, this is a DIY public access style show, often very sloppy and brutal, just like my death metal. So I can't do my boys like that, man. I gotta have Sadistic and Nausea on there, and that was supposed to be part of the Morbid Angel footage or whatever. So my bad. We fixed it, and we're back on track now. But yeah, that Sadistic Intent footage was the same era around the Morbid Angel. I think that Sadistic Intent footage is actually from the Necrophile show in '91 at the Waters Club in San Pedro. So Sadistic played that. I believe that's what that is. Might be Autopsy at the Waters as well, but I think it's Necrophile. And then, because I remember the Sadistic opened for Autopsy too, and it was different footage from what I remember. And then the Nausea is fucking badass because that's an '87 rehearsal, live rehearsal. So obviously Nausea doesn't really have a lot of stuff online video-wise, especially back in the day. I wanted to try to find some 90s stuff, early 90s, you know, the Wild Rags era, because that's when, you know, when they opened for Morbid Angel, they were working on the Crime Against Humanity album and stuff. And, you know, they had the Psychological Conflict 7-inch and the demos and stuff like that. So But yeah, anyways, I wanted to throw that in there. So we got the we're not fucking afraid to admit when we're wrong. We're gonna fix that shit, right the wrongs, correct the mundos. We got it. We're back on track now. All right, we're gonna do the last few tapes of this episode here. But before we do, let me also correct the images. I wanted to show classic picture of the Sadistic Intent boys. And this isn't the 1990 era. Well, it is, but it's not. It doesn't have everybody. So this is Vince, Bay, Enrique, and Rick. This is a classic picture, though. They have this poster hanging up at Dark Realm. And you've seen this. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this online. I just added the Sadistic logo up there in the corner. So I wanted to put a logo on there to match the theme of everything in this episode. But yeah, regardless, this is a classic fucking picture. I don't know what happened to Joel. Maybe they're in the transition between Joel and Emilio. Not 100% sure. And shortly around this time too, Enrique left and Bay took over on bass and vocals. And then they were a 4-piece for a long time. But anyways, this is a classic picture. Classic picture of my boys. Rick with the grotesque shirt. That's classic. And then here's NAUSEA. This is the era 1990 through 92. There's Eric, Mondo in the middle there. I know him. There's Oscar. And then there's my buddy Vito down there on the far bottom right. Vito rules. Good buddy of mine. And Vito's been around. He was helping out Excruciating Terror, Bloody Phoenix, NAUSEA over the years. He had his own thing, Endless Demise, grind thing, fucking rules. So, yeah, Vito's been around forever and always got some brutal shit going on. So, yeah, we are back on track. We corrected all that. That was supposed to be part of the Morbid Angel live tape thing. So, my bad. We got it fixed, though. Yeah, classic Entombed. That was live at Spanky's, 1992. May 9th, 1992. And this is the tape of that very show. We were there. That was my buddy George Castillo that recorded that video as well. So we got the video from him and we made some audio and distributed these fuckers. So that was LG had got kicked out of the band for a bit and they used one of the dudes, Ovar from Nirvana 2002 and Johnny Dordvik from Carnage fame also sang on one of the tours that I saw. And I have that tape as well. Talk about that another time. Got a different plan for all that. But yeah, so this Spanky show, this tour was with Dead Horse and Exhorter. So I don't care for either of those bands, so it was just there for Entombed, and we actually followed them around quite a bit around California, and even TJ went to Iguanas. They played a show down there, I believe, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, so I think Bart put this one together, cut and paste style, and pretty simple, straightforward layout here. Make sure I don't drop anything, but pretty cool fold out though in this one. Not double-sided, but yeah. So no song information, just some regular information. I don't know what's up with the that Eagle Total Grind. That must be some sort of earache thing back in the day or whatever that was thrown into the mix. But yeah, you know, I mean, Entombed were incredible on the prior tour with Morbid Angel and Unleashed. That was when they were here with Johnny. But this, when they had LG back, he's one of the best death metal frontmen of all time. It's just, you know, it's a whole nother level. Whole nother level. As you saw in that footage, he was fucking brutal. Here's the boys. Classic picture. All is back and all is right, just like the prior portion of the show. They corrected the wrongs just like we did, and they got LG back in the band. So, yeah, this show took place at Spanky's in Riverside. And let me see. Found a bunch of flyers of the other show. There it is. The Exhorter, Dead Horse, and the shitty Exhumed. We had an Exhumed from Riverside. And yeah. Anyways, Saturday, May 9th. So yeah, it was just all about Entombed. I was able to reconnect with the guys too. As you know, we wrote to Nikkei, so we were pen pals. Both Bart and I were pen pals with Nikkei. Nikkei's great. And let's see. Can't really go through. I gotta just load these up. So yeah, that was the Spanky show. That's the tape here of the Entombed live show. And then here is the same tour. Much better openers. Mind Rot, my boys, and Amputee. They were our friends from Orange County as well. Killer fucking death grind band. And yeah, they opened up, and then Mind Rot also played. Those are our boys, fucking heavy duty. This is at the Whiskey. So this was great. We went to that one too. And then, like I said, we did, let's see what this flyer is here. Yeah, this is San Diego, down at the Soma. Went down to that, hung out. So it was cool hanging out with the guys, you know. And then I think my buddy Jeremy from Morjon, he wrote to LG as well. So they, you know, they were hanging out. That, you know, obviously we met LG, and he was the best. All the guys were cool. And Lars, hung out with Lars, drank lots of beers with Lars and Nikkei and LG. Alex was real quiet. And Ufe, he was a really cool guy too. Ufe. And then we did go up north. Epidemic, killer fucking death thrash band. They would just put out an album on Metal Blade. But yeah, they just threw a generic flyer together for that show apparently. And plus Hate, whoever that was probably a local band. But yeah, we went up to the Stone in San Francisco for that one. So yeah, we went to a few shows of this tour. And then here's some other flyers. This is the Morbid Angel Unleashed Entombed tour, the prior tour. This is the one with Johnny. There's Sadistic and Catalepsy, Vehemence. Looks like Vehemence made that flyer. Awesome Possum. And then here's that tour as well with Death Shit, our boys. And then for some reason, Affliction's playing. There's like a kind of a Bay Area influenced thrash band. They didn't fit on this show, but that was Spanky's as well. And then here is the Granada Theater. Same, that tour, the prior tour. So let's see. I think I covered all that. But yeah, just wanted to show those real quick. Two of them came here a couple, 2-3 times back in the day. And then this is the Spanky's show with that you just saw. My buddy George recorded. So I found a bunch of flyers of that era, which was cool. So wanted to share those with you. But yeah, this Entombed fucking tape, you know, they exploded. They kind of took over the underground. You know, Morbid Angel was the shit for a while, then a little bit of Carcass, and then Entombed just dominated when they hit. Left Hand Path was like unlike anything we'd ever heard before. So yeah, they were fucking incredible. And by the time they came here on this tour in '92, they had The Crawl. Not sure if Clandestine was out just yet. They were playing a couple songs from it, but they had The Crawl EP, which was fucking heavy duty. Yeah, so they were just a juggernaut, you know, and they were just a worldwide phenomenon at that point. Kind of similar to Sepultura back in '89, you know, with Beneath the Remains when they blew up. Entombed just kind of took everything over, you know, all over the press and, you know, the big tours and stuff like that. So, but they were fucking brutal. They were fucking great live too. So we moved a lot of copies of these tapes. It was in demand for sure, in demand, very popular. I think Carcass was probably the #1 most popular one, and then Morbid Angel and Entombed would trade off. The Napalm one was pretty popular too. Oh yeah, Entombed's fellow countrymen and close brothers Dismember. That was a brutal night. That footage is the infamous autopsy show at the Hong Kong Cafe, the famous Hong Kong. It was in the Cheech and Chong flick, and Decline of Western Civilization Part 1, the original punk rock one. Had a bunch of punk shows there at that time, and then a decade later, they had a bunch of death metal and grindcore shows there too. So one night, Dismember was in town, and I don't know if they had an off night. They had performed earlier on the tour that they were on at the time, which was Suffocation, Vader, and Dismember. But they wanted to see Autopsy because they all loved Autopsy, of course, the gods. And they wanted to check them out. And just so happens everybody was there. And I don't know if one of the Morjon guys, Morjon opened, I don't know who talked to Dismember and said, hey, since you're all here, you guys want to do a set. So Morjon had the HM2 pedals. You know, they had the Swedish sound, you know, so Dismember was like, it was perfect. So they just did a bunch of Carnage songs, you know, which evolved, some of them evolved into Dismember songs eventually and whatnot. But yeah, it was fucking incredible, you know. So his Incantation had to drop off the tour. So it was Autopsy, Vital Remains, Incantation, and Morgue. And Incantation, John had to go home or something happened. So Incantation dropped and went home. And so Dismember filled that slot there at the Autopsy show. So that's the footage you saw. My friend Arturo Gallegos, Sucks Trash 666 is his YouTube channel. Go look it up. He's got pretty much every show in Los Angeles loaded up right now. He sets up video cameras all over. He'll set up a video camera and drive to another part of town and set up another one. And sometimes he's not even there. He just films it, comes back to the venue, picks it up. You know, it's crazy. And then sometimes he'll just film it, you know, set up a camera and then just go have a beer or whatever. But yeah, he actually had a video recorder for this specific show. So the autopsy footage that's on that Dark Crusades DVD and now online, I'm sure that's Arturo that filmed the autopsy set. So that made it to the autopsy DVD. So, but anyways, this is the live Dismember. Pretty cool little layout that Bart put together. Did a multicolored Dismember logo with the red on the left and right, and then the middle's yellow, and then there's just a gory picture. I think Dead Infection used this for something. Probably we got it from Alarma or something like that, or one of the gore magazines, you know, at the time or whatever. But yeah, so Dismember live, red and yellow. Pretty cool, just basic layout. This is cut and paste. So there's the song titles. You know, it's 5 songs real quick. Lots of carnage. And right there, talking about bonus songs from the Carnage Dark Recollections, which, yeah, pretty much. Interesting. But, yeah, really cool. Really cool. Yeah, 2 Dismember songs and 3 Carnage songs. So, yeah, they just did a quick 5-song set. And it's fucking legendary, though. I mean, they sounded so fucking great. But this tape is actually pretty cool because it's got that show, that show at the Hong Kong. And it also has, we put that on there, but then there's live shows in Sweden and Finland. That's just they focus on the Dismember stuff that came later. So before they came to America, I think the Finland is 91 and the Sweden is 92, something like that. So it's full sets. So the other side has the Sweden and Finland shows, and then side 1 has the quick the Hong Kong show. So that's like a live compilation of Dismember classics and Carnage classics. So one of my favorites. I still will bust this out from time to time. Just good memories of being at the Dismember show. Here's the boys. Classic picture. They're babies right there, ready to get brutal. Not a lot of flyers. I couldn't find a flyer for the tour in question while they were in town, because they also played. Oh, that's another thing too. Actually, on this tape, I forgot about that. Side 1 has the California Girls, aka California Dreams show that they played with Suffocation, Dismember, and Vader. Because somebody online was asking, I posted the cover, and they're like, "What show is that?" Totally forgot about that. So yeah, this Dismember actually has the Orange County tour date opening for Suffocation, the Hong Kong show guest, you know, set at the autopsy show, and then 2 shows on side 2, 1 in Finland, 1 in Sweden. So yeah, it's quite a fucking tape. We moved a lot of these too back in the day. Dismember was pretty popular. And then real quick, I don't know if I had brought this up before. I think I showed this on Roy's Death Metal podcast at one point, but Suffocation and Dismember did an in-store at Bionic Records in Fullerton, which was over by my house. So that was cool hanging out with those guys. And I was friends with both bands, you know. So that tour, that was the first time Dismember was actually here in America. So, and that was 93. So it took Dismember a little bit to get over here compared to some of the bands overseas. But yeah, Dismember finally made it over. And yeah, they were part of Suffocation's first big tour after the Effigy of the Forgotten album. So yeah, but they did the in-store at Bionic, and you know, I was friends with those guys. So all the Bionic crew hung out. But good times, good times. Classic live tape. This is actually one of my favorites just because of the amount of material and cool shit that's on there. Obviously, I wasn't at the Sweden and Finland shows, never been there, but I definitely was at the 2 local shows, one at the Hong Kong and one at the, it's kind of like it wasn't an actual gentleman's club. They served alcohol here in Los Angeles. They, in Orange County, they didn't, the the titty bars are a little bit different. So even back then, you if you served alcohol, there was a barrier. You couldn't get too close to the girls in that sense. They couldn't give you lap dances and all that. I guess they could. I don't know. You couldn't get close to them on stage, some stupid rule. And then they opened these things called juice bars, and they were fully nude. I think that's what it was. They couldn't get fully nude, so they left the bottoms on. They could be topless, but they couldn't show their vaginas or whatever. It was really bizarre. But we have a lot of morons here, so that probably controlled a lot of the strippers getting attacked by fucking drunken maniacs. So, but yeah, fucking Dismember fucking ruled.
You turn black. That's it. The mighty of the nation. This is a sign for the lost soul to ride.
I'm a sucker for that era of black metal. So to end the episode, I'm going to talk about this little collector tape that I got back in the day. I'm trying to get the glare off of there. Oh, it's upside down anyways. Emperor, England, 93, in Immortal in Norway. In, what is that? I'm going to read it. It's all fucked up. 93. Both of these shows on this tape are 93. Kind of funny too. Like somebody took their mom's Oingo Boingo tape or whatever and fucking took off the label and wrote it on there. It's all good though, as long as the footage is on there. But yeah, this is a funny example. Good old 80s and 90s tapes. Yeah, cool little generic layout. This is just from somebody that we were trading with at the time, I assume. Somebody Bart was writing with. But Immortal Live and Zandam and Emperor. I don't know why that says a Midsummer Night's Dream or whatever. But anyways, early footage from the 93 era of both bands. Very cool. This is right when black metal started to kind of take off in that sense. Yeah, I mean, generic cover, nothing special. You know, we didn't, this is just a personal trader copy. Here's the old pictures of both bands. There's Immortal. Pretty fucking cool. Classic Emperor. They kind of look like hipster accountants now or something, you know. Definitely don't look like that. So, but yeah, you know, we enjoyed that early era of the black metal stuff. It started getting weird later on, obviously. Started getting very trendy and lame. So, you know, but that old stuff, you know, I definitely dug the old stuff. Once the hype started and the murders and the church burnings and the book, and yeah, I just couldn't get into it, you know. Got way even more stupid and trendy than the death metal scene got, unfortunately. So there's still some good albums though. Immortal put out a bunch of killer fucking albums. Emperor, you know, yeah, they that one Equilibrium album or the whatever the second one was called, I forgot. But Nightside Eclipse fucking kills. That's a classic. So yeah, I didn't find many flyers, unfortunately, about when these bands came here for the first time. I remember Mayhem coming in like 98, and they played like the Roxy. I just remember Phobia opened for them, and it was fucking great. They were great, you know, but it was, for some reason, the Norwegian black metal bands, I don't know if it's because they had criminal records or what the fuck was going on. There was all the problems and controversy. They didn't come over to the United States, from what I remember, until the late 90s. And I know my friend Rochelle worked at Century Media, and she did the Century Black stuff. She was getting a lot of the black metal bands signed and hooking them up here in America, doing a lot of the Osmos stuff over here, getting it distributed through Century Media. And then actually, I think Emperor ended up working with Century Media at one point, from what I remember. Maybe not, but she was instrumental in that. And she was instrumental in bringing the bands out here too, getting that all hooked up. And, you know, Mayhem came in like 98, but as far as like Emperor and Immortal, first time I saw Immortal was when they opened for Manowar in like 2002. They played the Palace. That was fucking awesome. Both bands were killer, but Immortal, I thought Immortal was just amazing. They fucking, I know it's blasphemy, metalheads, but Immortal smoked Manowar that night, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I enjoyed Manowar. You know, they were good, but they're always loud. But Immortal was just a fucking absolute machine at that point. Classic black metal. And then Emperor, they came a couple years before. There was a big show at the Variety Arts Center in downtown LA in 99. I think it was the summer of 99, actually. I remember. And they were great, you know. Emperor was fucking fantastic. They had a few albums under their belt, but a lot of Nightside Eclipse and classic stuff. So yeah, that was a cool rough tape trader copy of some live Emperor and live Immortal. So that pretty much wraps everything up for the live tape episode. Let me know what you thought about it, what your thoughts are. Have you got any questions? You want any of these links that I played? I'd be more than happy to send them to you. I have them all saved. So I got to save them to make files to play on here. So I have another episode, another one or two for sure, easily, of some live tapes, but it'll be down the line. I got some other stuff lined up. I thought my brother was coming in town this weekend, but I got it mixed up. He's coming next month, so I didn't even know I was going to do an episode this weekend, because I thought I'd be wrapped up hanging out with him. But I got the dates wrong because I'm a fucking lunkhead and I've been working crazy hours and whatnot. So can't get my shit straight here. It's been a crazy week, but yeah, it was cool. I was able to sneak in an episode. So make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, comment, spread it around for me. Trying to get some more people out there. If you like the old school stories and crazy old merchandise and shit like that, then definitely recommend this episode or this channel in general to those out there that you think would be into it. I appreciate it. But I appreciate all of you. Thank you once again. And again, let me know what your thoughts are. I also apologize for not actually responding to comments on YouTube. I try to like them, but I just haven't had the time to sit there and respond. And if I do respond to one person, then I feel the need to respond to everybody through every fucking episode. So I was commenting a little bit in the beginning, and I just don't have the time and wherewithal to do it. But I appreciate everybody's thoughts and cool comments about the fires affecting, you know, my family and the fact that I was safe and everybody in my family safe, and my friends too that lost houses. I appreciate your love on that. And I did see those comments and liked them, and I really appreciate you. So thank you very much. Much appreciated as always. And thank you again for tuning in. Till next time, you crazy motherfuckers, have a good one and have a better one tomorrow. See you soon.